Hello and welcome to the Sacred Blueprint 5-part mini-series. This is a series on my signature system, the Sacred Blueprint. This is an unconventional, cutting-edge approach to property design that will support you to guide your clients to birth their optimal blueprints for their dream sanctuaries, whether it's a home, a garden, a temple, a community, with ease and flow through a spiritual, energetic approach. So in the last two parts of this series, I guided you through the first two phases of the Sacred Blueprint. The first phase is about holding space for your clients to awaken their soul's purpose and really get clear on the essence of their project, the real core essence, so that they come out of that phase with an intention and clarity on what are the activities and functions of the spaces that are going to support that purpose. And this phase requires them to relinquish their attachments to preconceived forms, structures that they've seen in the external world, social media, design magazines. It requires a going inward, a going in, a deep listening to their souls, the mystery of creation, in order to get clear on that essence. And then in the next phase of the Sacred Blueprint journey, I guide my clients through very specific exercises that help them to cultivate a relationship with the spirit of land, of their property. So they receive the vision, so that they receive the vision, the optimal blueprint for their dream sanctuary, by connecting with the living being that is the spirit of the land. In today's session, I will be guiding you through the third phase of the Sacred Blueprint cycle. And this is a really exciting phase because this is actually the marking of when the Sacred Blueprint shifts from the feminine impulses to more the masculine impulses. And what I mean by that is this marks actually the phase or the stage in the journey where we are actually ready to create the first blueprint. You would think that the architect is the one who does that, right? In conventional architecture, that's typically how it goes, right? The architect who's had years of training in architecture school is the first one to actually draw the blueprint. Well, in the Sacred Blueprint system, it's the client. I guide my clients to actually sketch the first sketch, the first drawing, through very specific prompts that will help them to really tune into the vision that they receive from the spirit of the land. And that's in phase 2 of the Sacred Blueprint journey, the Sacred Blueprint cycle. So they're the ones who draw the first blueprint, and it's incredible what comes through. And things that they didn't expect, spaces and ahas and breakthroughs that they didn't expect, and also emotions, deep healing that occurs as a result of drawing this blueprint. It doesn't matter if my clients are artistically inclined or not, if they have drawing skills or not. It does not matter. What matters is that they are embodying their blueprint. They are actually actively involved in, responsible for birthing their own blueprint. After all, whatever kind of project they're working on for their property or envisioning, it's their project, right? And it's just another level example of how the Sacred Blueprint empowers them to own their design, right? On an energetic level, on a deep level. Then we start to observe this blueprint, okay? And up to this point, we haven't taken any photographs of the property. We have not referred to any external references, any projects, okay? Typically in conventional architecture practices, I mentioned this in the first video of this series, typically clients will bring all kinds of examples, right? 100 different Pinterest boards, right? Instagram images, whatever, design magazines, to the architect and say, I want this. This is the thing that I want, right? Before they actually tune in to what is actually aligned with their soul and aligned with the energetics of place, of their property, specific property. And you cannot just import and plot a building from a magazine onto any given property. It won't work, especially if you are someone who, if your clients rather are people who really want to connect with the wisdom of nature and create a space that attracts abundance, vitality, joy, and deep healing. So we take this first sketch, I call it the intuitive map in the sacred blueprint process, and we observe what came through relative to the heart of the land. And this is a key piece of the sacred blueprint process. And we observe what kind of spaces and where their locations are, where they bloomed in reference to the heart. As well as a reference to the entrance of the property and any distinct important features, whether they are man-made or nature-made features on the property. Again, I mentioned this earlier in the earlier sessions. It does not matter where your property is. It could be in the middle of a bustling city, or it could be out in the middle of an island or a forest in the countryside. It doesn't matter. The spirit of the land and Mother Nature exist everywhere, everywhere. And we can communicate with this life force, with this being anywhere. So then the first impulses, the essence of the project emerges out of that intuitive map. And then we start to hone in on more of the specifics of the energetics of place. What parts of the property need healing? What part of the properties needs harmonization? Is there a darker, ickier, stuck, blocked zone on the land versus one that is much more bright and active and flowing? And then what are the relationships with those places and the spaces that they envisioned and received from the spirit of the land, which are now drawn on this first intuitive map, blueprint map. I get my clients to do a lot of walking on the land and feeling the size and spaces that emerged from their vision on the land, and really starting to feel the orientation and rotation of those places and spaces and how they all connect with each other. It doesn't matter if it's an indoor space or an outdoor space. They are all starting to be configured, okay, to work with the unique configuration of energies on their property. I work with, at this point, I help them even practice with pendulums, dowsing rods, and the most important tool, their bodies, to be able to feel the energies there. So one thing I want to say here, the importance of bridging spirit with form in architecture is this. You could design the most beautiful, stunning project, okay? And maybe even this project is also sensitive to the elements of nature. So maybe it runs on passive heating and cooling and does not need all kinds of mechanical equipment. Maybe you're working with local materials and really doing your best to design an eco-conscious space, which is something that I do in my practice in the Sacred Blueprint. But all of that effort can go to waste if you are not working on harmonizing the off and stuck and blocked energies on your property. And those off and stuck energies on your property are actually directly connected to your client. Your client also has off and stuck energies, just like all of us. We're not perfect human beings. And your clients have attracted that property for a reason. And so I help them see the connection. And this is not about not giving everything a spiritual meaning. You know how sometimes we can force a spiritual meaning out of everything, just squeeze it out of everything. That's a bit too much, right? That we want to be balanced human beings, right? We want to look at the physical qualities and aspects of a place, of a situation, of a design, as well as the spiritual and energetic. But as we evolve, as humanity awakens, we now are starting to see the interconnectedness between all things, and that, in fact, we are not separate from each other in essence, at the core. And we are not separate from our environments. Our environments are a direct reflection of us, and there is a constant exchange, right? A constant communication. And when you have the tools, the right tools to be able to guide your clients through their own healing process, and the healing process of their land, it's incredible how you're going to see how connected they are to each other, okay? If we just talk about home, like building home, creating home, that's already quite an important and deep process, and can either be a source of great stress and arguments and divorces, and boy, oh boy, have I seen it all. Or it can be a vessel, a vehicle for great healing and awakening and joy and fun and fulfillment and purpose, right? So I only work with clients who are interested in growth, in spiritual growth, in developing themselves, in growing into their biggest, best life, into their biggest, best selves. And they want the architecture to match that. They want the architecture to support their soul's purpose and their mission and their vision. Whether it be a mission and vision for their families, whether it be a mission and vision for their companies, their businesses, whether it be a vision and mission for their communities, I help them to birth totally unique architecture, unique to the energetics of place, in co-creation with the spirit of the land, to generate their property design. Now, some of you in this space, architects in the space, may be wondering, okay, well, when do the building permits and the regulations and the zoning regulations come in? I support my clients to create a container where they're actually, at this point, well, also in the second point, we actually communicate this to the spirit of the land, that we want to build and vision a space that it gets built with ease and flow under these specific parameters. And so it's all about the communication. It's all about the intention and being really specific with those words, okay? Now, some clients that I work with are pushing the boundaries of building permits, and some of them are investigating their natural rights regarding land ownership. So the Sacred Blueprint is about revolutionizing our way of living on the land. And some of our Indigenous brothers and sisters would have never even thought about owning land. Like, that's just not even like possible. How can you own Mother Earth as a living, breathing being, right? So all kinds of possibilities start to open up with my clients as a result of embarking on this sacred journey, the Sacred Blueprint journey. So the third phase of the Sacred Blueprint system is when we actually now start working with maps, right? Property maps, and refining, fine-tuning the locations of the spaces that they want to build. Now, I don't only work on new builds. I also work with my clients on house renovations, additions. I've worked on properties where there's like an old barn, and that gets converted into, like a healing center or a workshop space. So the Sacred Blueprint system works on all different kinds of properties. It doesn't matter if there are existing buildings on the property or not. You can still read the energetics of place because they're a part of the puzzle, right? Those existing structures are a part of the energetic puzzle of place, okay? So if you're interested in learning more about the Sacred Blueprint system, and you are an architect, a woman architect, interior architect who is eager and ready to unleash your intuitive powers and birth the sanctuaries of our new earth by bridging spirit with form, I have a free webinar that I want you to sign up for. It is called Unlock Your Spirit Architect Mastery. It's going to support you with the tools to build a prospering architecture practice by leveraging your intuitive gifts. In this webinar, I lead the women through a really powerful visioning journey, a meditative visioning journey where they access their sacred temple and receive the keys and codes of their intuitive gifts. I also share the Sacred Blueprint Sweet Spot Profit Map, and this is a structure that's going to help you to ditch the depletion of conventional architecture and build a business by positioning yourself as an expert in the architecture field on the cutting edge. Spiritual architecture is the future, women. AI, I don't care what anybody else says about AI. I know it's advancing, but AI is not capable of replacing your intuitive gifts. We are only scratching the surface of the power of the pure human. I'm going to use the word pure, 2 words, pure human. Greg Braden has a book out called Pure Human. He doesn't know I exist, probably. So I don't have any kind of business collaboration with him, but I feel that what he is sharing with his wisdom and knowledge and expertise is so critical for our future, like extremely critical. Pure human. And we need to tap all of our facets, the physical, soul, and spiritual aspects of the human being. And we're really only tapping about 10% of it. Imagination and intuition are the key. And the Sacred Blueprint system helps your clients to tap their imagination and intuition, as well as yours as the architect, to help them to birth their optimal blueprint. The other thing I want you to be aware of is the Sacred Blueprint certification program for women architects, landscape architects, and interior architects. We are starting our first cohort June 22nd, 2026. I highly recommend you sign up for the program and application details. The link is below. When you sign up, you are going to get 2 videos that guide you through the program outline as well as the application form. It's going to give you all the details of our robust, comprehensive program. It's a 12-month pathway, and we're building a movement together. I'm so excited. So make sure you sign up for that. Is there anything else I wanted to share? Yes. We are offering a special discount until May 31st, 2026 when you apply before that date. So get your applications in if this resonates. So next session for the Sacred Blueprint mini series, I will be guiding you through the 4th phase of the Sacred Blueprint cycle, which is the final phase. And this is where I guide my clients to finalize their optimal blueprint and guide them through all of the tools that are going to help them to design and create forms, architectural forms and materials that emanate with healing frequencies, so they attract the abundance, the freedom, the vitality, and the joy that they desire. All right, see you in the next session. Bye.